All right, everybody, welcome back to the Unconquered Podcast film review. Going to do the NC State game this week, looking at. We won't. Well, as always, we won't look at the entire game at every play of this game, but we're going to look at a good bit, and so let's go ahead and get to it. Starting with this initial kickoff, and for what it's worth, Hampton has not been coaching kickoff. I can say this for the subscribers. Hampton has not been coaching kickoff coverage, kickoff team of late. He's not been the primary coach in charge of it, which might be why that unit has been better. So just, for what it's worth. All right, so NC State starts, and it's pretty obvious to me early on that NC State found something in how Florida State was lining up that they liked in terms of being able to get some seams going early, in terms of being able to get some gaps. And partly they ran a lot at Brian Burns in this game, which, is something that if you're going to run at Florida State, you definitely want to run at Brian Burns rather than running at the big end. Burns is obviously an elite pass rusher, but is not the same kind of run stopper that the other guys are. In any case, we're going to go ahead and take a look at this. So they're just running jet action, trying to hold this backside backer and the edge player here. And then they're going to run out of pistol. They're going to run just a inside zone here. Now, this is something that it's worth noting that they do that Florida State really, I would prefer that Florida State do. Now, they may have to go with a too tight look, but when Florida State has been running fake jet zone, they've been running a lot of split zone here where you're getting the H-back coming across, and teams are just reading that H-back. Now, they've not done it as much in the last few weeks, but teams have read that H-back and have not honored that jet fake very much. And as soon as you see the jet arc, they take the jet. So this is something that NC State arcs the H-back and moves across. Now, here's the other thing that NC State does, and we're going to see this in a couple weeks from Boston College as well, is they go unbalanced here. This is a run look all the way. This is a tackle. That's not a defensive, or that's not a tight end. Most teams will put a tight end here, obviously, and have the right tackle there. And a tight end is not going to bully Brian Burns as much as what, say, a top-level FBS Power 5 tackle is going to do. So what they're trying to do is they're going unbalanced, and they're going to try to create some mismatches on this edge just with size. And it works. Take a look at what happens to Brian Burns. He's got to keep that edge open, but his job is twofold. What you want this end to do as soon as he sees this run step is he's got to keep his outside shoulder clean to try to stretch this so that the back can't get outside. But he also has to compress this. You want him to do what's called long arm, which means he sticks that inside arm into the pads of the tackle and tries to get some leverage there and compress inside with that. Now the problem is, and you see Burns doing it, the technique here is good, so kudos to him and Snyder for getting this right. The problem isn't the technique. The problem is he gets washed because of size. And that's what creates a hole here. What you want is an end who's able to compress this and basically maintain that position and stalemate the offensive lineman while keeping that outside edge open. But watch, he ends up getting pushed another 2 or 3 yards. It's another 2 steps, so let's say 2 yards. And what that does as they're coming out, now you're able to get a seam behind this left tackle, behind the normal left tackle, who then can collapse in and get his hands on that backer. Now, the other thing is that the backer, they're calling unbalanced here already. You see this. They're noting unbalanced, which your danger here is play action, and you've got 2 receivers back here plus a jet fake. So what you're going to get out of this is you're going to get the jet guy is going to wind up either running a wheel. Normally, the jet guy is going to be some sort of flat route. You're going to get some sort of downfield route or a seam from the tight end here, and then either a wheel or a corner, something like that from the sniffer. The problem, though, is they're moving with the jet, and this is what causes him to get gapped. So not only does Burns get pushed out a little bit, but this is your strong side backer. This is 20 here, and again, he's had a good first year as a freshman, but he's out of his gap already. So the way this is working, Burns has the outside gap, the C gap. So A, B, C, D. He's got the D gap. The A gap is going to be the Mike linebacker. The B gap is going to be the 3 technique. The C gap has to be the Sam linebacker here, and he's out of his gap almost as soon as this ball start, or as soon as this ball is snapped, because he's going a little bit. See how he takes that extra couple read steps inside? 1, 2. He's out of his gap by a half a yard already. And as a result, Woodby is able to get reached by that tackle with his pads inside. See how the tackle is able to turn inside? If Woodby is able to stay in his gap here, he can come downhill and wind up meeting this with the proper leverage and hit this right in here. And now you combine that, and you combine Burns being outside a little bit, Woodby being inside a little bit, and there is a hold here. That's a hold, but it's not going to get called a bunch. You see that hand on the outside of the pads. That's a hold, but like I said, not going to get called much, and he's out of position anyway. He's got to be hitting this with the inside shoulder. And if they're able to do that, this is tackled here, or he has to bounce it. Everybody else is basically in their gaps. Like to see the Mike backer. This is Warner. Mike Backer's triggering too late. He's got to be downhill. And this, by the way, is one of the reasons why it's so different playing in the NFL versus college, and why a team like Alabama would get spanked by the worst team in the NFL. Because you see those couple steps, he may be a great athlete, but in the NFL, those steps aren't taken. He comes straight downhill into his gap, blows up this tackle, and it's a no gain. And that's going to happen from basically every linebacker in the NFL. It's just a different game. But anyway, he's able to get through, and that's not the kind of start you want for Florida State. 2nd and 1, and now they're in a traditional set with the sniffer. Basically trips to the field, and now they do what they're going to do the entire game. They're basically going to get the matchup they want. Now you notice Florida State is starting a different pair of corners here. There's a reason for that. One is that Levante Taylor was hurt in this game, and the other is that Kyle Myers just flat out quit on the field. He was one of the guys that Taggart had identified, rightly so, as having quit against Clemson, so he didn't start. They started the true freshman. They started Samuel. So Samuel and Samuels are your corners, and that does give you something outside. I thought Stanford Samuels played better at corner than he has at free safety. But what that means is they're going to go at these guys all game. Basically, the interior 5 on the Florida State defense is vulnerable in passing situations. The only guy that really, for his position, is a good cover guy out of that group is Woodby, because he's basically a safety playing Sam linebacker. The other guys, and Warner's not bad for a Mike, but the other guys are all liabilities in coverage. And here's what they're doing. They know this is quarters, so just run a quick out, get the ball out. Safety can't get down in time. That's easy. So on 2nd and 1, get that. It's actually pretty good by the safety. That's Westbrook coming downhill. Good firm tackle, but it's an easy first down. So now, what do? Once again, sniffer now in an offset eye look out of the pistol. Florida State walks up into a 5-man front, so they're going odd here, but they're still in a 1 gap. And again, you notice what they've done is they've basically given the backer the outside gap. But the problem is, you got 2 guys from Florida State in the same gap again. Janarius Robinson here is in his wrong gap. He comes inside against this step. He's trying to get penetration, but now he and Christmas are in the same gap. And Werner has to get on his horse to get out there to prevent that being a bigger play. And he does a good job redirecting. He beats the backside guard to the spot. Now, the danger here is if this back sees the backer coming out quickly enough and he sees this washing down, if Christmas doesn't get as much press as he does, the back might be able to cut back on this. But again, Robinson's out of his gap here. Not bad by Werner, making him turn back in, and a very good fill by Nasiruddin, who has become a pretty good hitter, pretty good enforcer from safety. Some reason for optimism for him at safety next year. And now, again, you can see what they're scripting. They're scripting some play action off of the same look, right? You got the same look here. This is how you script it. Okay, we've shown it that way. Now what are they going to do here? They know what they're going to get. So now you've scripted that. Down and distance is a little different. Florida State's in a different defense. This is essentially quarters. Safety's deeper here to help over number one because there's not a vertical threat on this side, or not much of one, because he's in the backfield in the sniffer position. And now they go play action. And you see, again, look at the way that the backers are reacting to play action. Werner does a pretty good job here. Not biting on that. It appears Florida State has a tackle nose stunt here, and that's what allows. And they don't execute that very well. Burns comes in and gets stuffed. You don't get the nose anywhere on this side. Christmas does a good job clearing, but Robinson doesn't do a real good job of running the hoop here. He's got to put that foot in the ground and get vertical. Now he should be back in here by now. And there's no outside contain. Christmas gets blocked inside, loses contain by the sniffer. Finley's able to break contain and make a good throw on the run. And this is where, actually, this looks like it's 2 on that side. Yeah, they're in cover 2 here. They're usually going to be in quarters here. Samuels misses here. His job on 2 is going to be to jam and try to route him inside against cover 2. He misses the jam. Not good technique there. Misses the jam. That allows him to get up the sideline away from the safety, and that's what allows that to happen. So a couple mistakes there technique-wise. Not much to see there. Pretty good coverage. This time, a little better technique, little feint on the jam from Samuels. And pretty good coverage. So now they're doing a little bit of Florida State stuff, although this would be another yard wider for Florida State. Running that little bunch to the boundary out wide. And this is, by the way, what DeAndre Francois should have been throwing a little bit more. You got 2 over 3 here. This is an easy decision. Safety's way back here. 2 over 3, 2nd and 10. You get it out to this guy, and it's basically a zone play. Inside zone, but out wide. With a big receiver, that's pretty easy. Got to get off those blocks. And this is where, as a backer, Brooks being so undersized, he's getting pushed out of place by, I guess that's their tight end, but that makes a seam, gets you to 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. That's just not good enough there. You either need to bring the second guy, the third guy up, or you need to have, just better ability to take on and defeat those blocks inside. They're just not they're doing too much there. And this is a good play design by NC State. Florida State they're loading the A gaps here. They're expecting something up the middle. So they've got Werner over the center in a zero, and then they've got both defensive tackles in the A, and then it's basically a double eagle with the backer down, and then you've got your edge protection here. They're just not going to let North Carolina State run the football here. And NC State makes it look like, blocking-wise, outside zone with the jet action to get the whole defense to flow this way. And you can see Aime does a good job of recognizing pass and getting to the flat. But where the problem is right down here. What they're doing is they're sneaking the edge, or they're sneaking the sniffer across the formation, and there's just nobody to cover him. Because you have to have a guy who's responsible for the quarterback out wide. And if the Mike backer is playing inside, he's going to get stuck in the traffic, and he's going to be the one to have this sniffer, and there's no way he can see him. He kind of sees him late, and then Finley does a good job of recognizing, getting the ball out, and then that's a little bit of a lucky catch. Actually, he dropped it, I guess. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. All right. So now, once again, they're unbalanced. Tackle, tight end. I think Florida State is misaligned to this. They can't let this happen. If they're going to go unbalanced, and see, this is where I think NC State out-schemed Florida State defensively. It's one of the places I think they out-schemed Florida State defensively early, is they went unbalanced to the field, knowing Florida State has boundary and field ends. So what they did is they went unbalanced to get the big guy on Burns. Florida State, when NC State goes unbalanced like this, has to make sure that the big end is on the unbalanced side, and that you put Burns on the back side of that. Because what that's going to allow is, again, you've got your inside gaps all taken care of, but where you're really vulnerable is right there, right over Burns. I mean, you're basically letting them know where they can beat you. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to run across, force the defense to adjust over, and they're misaligned. What are they doing? See this right here? They're trying to get him moved over a gap to isolate this matchup, running straight at Burns. And once again, just like with Woodby earlier, you got 19 here. His gap is going to be, because Florida State's adding some inside pressure here with the linebacker with the Mike walked up, and so they're adding extra pressure in the A's. Basically, you're going to have the safety covering this C gap here between the two tackles, between the big tight end, who's the unbalanced lineman, and with this motion, they control him. They get him moved over just like Woodby did, and now you have an angle for that tackle. You're going to get Burns once again out of his gap, or pushed out a little bit. You get a lead blocker through this as well, and this should have scored. I mean, that's easy. This is a good scheme. And quite frankly, Florida State just got caught with their pants down here schematically. They shouldn't be bumping over at all to this. There's no reason to, because against the jet, bump him out, and everybody else should be staying to the strong side. So they got caught with their pants down, misaligned. Corner should be out here. Safety should be right here. Safety should be coming downhill right now. Corner should be covering that alley. And safety should be taking that lead blocker, or taking the tackle head on right now, trying to bury that. And you want to take that tackle actually on down near his thigh pads to bury it. And then you want that corner to be coming up trying to make that tackle, and you run inside out from everybody else. That should be how that goes. But this like I said, this should have scored. This is good scheme by NC State up front, and Florida State got out schemed up front. Now inside the red zone. And what are they doing again? Now they start and they motion to a weak eye in the pistol. And what are they doing now? Instead of isolating Burns, now they are still trying to turn this end out. What they're trying to do is they're trying to get this matchup. Lead blocker on DeKalon Brooks. Bam. Big receiver against smaller corner. DeKalon Brooks gets buried here, and he doesn't take it on with the right shoulder. He wrong shoulders this. So again, tackle has A gap. DeKalon Brooks has B gap here, and he needs to hit B gap, keeping his outside shoulder clean. Spill to the inside. He hits it with his outside shoulder, gets washed inside, and Gillespie once again has an easy responsibility, and Aime gets pancaked here. That's not good. Your big end can't do that. Big end has to get that foot in the ground and compress that. If he's able to compress this instead of getting pancaked, that's what makes that alley. You're still okay even though Brooks gets blocked. Instead, good back scores here. Gillespie, as he's gotten bigger, has lost his mobility. But generally speaking, a good back should score there. Again, good scheme. They out-scheme Florida State once again. And we got a wham here. This is nice scheme here. So what you're doing is you're trapping this defensive tackle with the H-back. So you're going to end up sending this. And by the way, this is about as varied a run game as anybody has shown against Florida State all year. You got to give NC State credit for this. But they're taking the left tackle and they're putting him on Brooks. That's the matchup they want. They're bringing that guard outside to kick out the end, and then they're going to let that defensive tackle upfield, and then they're going to wham him with the H-back. And you see that right there. And that allows everybody to get to the second level because you're not worrying about having to block him. You're able to block him by angle and by this guy being bold. So now everybody else steps right. Lead blocker takes that tackle. Tackle doesn't recognize it quickly enough. He's got to step. When he sees that guard step out, he's got to step straight down. He gets just a little too wide. Werner doesn't trigger quickly enough. Does a pretty good job of locking up on that center, though. Christmas matches the step of the guard. He's got the outside B gap here. Werner should have the A gap here. But because they've got the wham on, they actually have an extra A gap defender. A gap blocker. So you got A gap. Now he leaves. You block the other backer who would be responsible for stepping up here. Werner can't cover both A gaps once this guy gets blocked. He's effectively two gapping from that spot. Back is able to just almost walk in. I mean, that again, better back. And Person's not bad. I mean, we played against him last year. We had to go against him last year in high school. He's a good back, not nearly as good as his rating coming out. But, better back scores, and it's not a bad run. Again, this is Florida State getting out-schemed up front. NC State is basically getting every matchup they want. 3rd and goal. Once again, Florida State working inside out. They're refusing to let NC State run. You could see that what they were really worried about is, again, that kind of inside run. So now they're pushing extra guys on the inside, but they're misaligned. They have one extra on this side, right? So you got B gap, you got C gap, B gap, A gap, D gap, D gap. Extra guy here on this side. What do you have? B gap or a C gap, B gap, A gap, and you don't have the extra edge guy, what you should have is the linebackers should all be bumped over one because of the location of the sniffer. With the sniffer on this side, you should have one extra backer over here. And that's why. Because as soon as that... Now, notice the edge guy gets thrown. This is really good play by the offensive tackle. He knows that the defensive end, that's Robinson, is going to be protecting that outside shoulder. So what does he do? He kind of does a little judo move here, gets his hand on the inside, and swings him and pushes him out of that gap. That's pretty good. You've got to have better pressure on that outside foot as the end to prevent that from happening. He's caught off balance, gets pushed, goes down. That creates more space. Because the backer is not walked outside like he should be, backer should be covering out here, and you should have another backer in here. Because they're misaligned once again, as soon as that H-back comes in here, linebacker hits at the wrong shoulder, running back's able to walk in. That's super easy. So they got out-schemed up front on that drive by NC State. And now Florida State's getting out-schemed by not fair catching this. Thank you, Hampton. And a holding penalty. So, why not? Let's just go ahead and start on the 4 freaking yard line. That's just brilliant. Why? So that we can almost give up a safety on our on the first play. That's what I would want to be doing if I were coaching offense. If I were coaching this team. Yeah, go ahead, Hampton's unit. Go ahead and make sure that we start on the 3 yard line. On the road in Raleigh. Oh, and let's go ahead and run a pull play where our interior guys are not quick enough to get to their exterior guys. So we just wind up letting both edge guys come free. Actually, one of them's a tackle. My goodness, this is so ugly. Kelly should have the 3 technique. Arthur Williams should be on the backer here. Kelly moves on from the 3 technique. Minshew should be kicking out the edge guy. Oh, mercy, this is so bad. There's no way that's the way they wanted to block this. What's amazing here is you actually have one offensive lineman blocking anyone here. And that's Eberle. Eberle blocks the nose tackle. The end comes free as both the offensive tackle and the offensive guard on the right side go to pull, which I think is wrong. One of those guys has to, unless that's a read. I guess that's a read. Which if that's a read, Blackman reads it wrong. And then on the front side, one of these guys has to block the 3 technique. It looks to me like it's got to be Kelly, block the 3 technique, get to that backer. Neither of them block the 3 technique. So basically, 3 of the 4 defensive linemen for NC State come free. And Akers still gets 2 yards. Good for you, Akers. Go ahead and get drafted just based on that. But this right here, that's so bad. This is part of your opening script. This is something that you have repped. That's just that. This right here is teaching tape bad in terms of how bad. Wow. Look at that. 4 offensive linemen don't block anyone. So now, just run in zone. Let's take a look at how many guys come free. 1, 2, 3. Out of the front 4. Nose comes free. Outside edge guy comes free. Inside comes free. Beats the right tackle. And Akers actually makes a big play out of this. Sweet Lord, that's just a run. But look at this. Right tackle steps out, gets off balance. Defensive end in the backfield. Nose tackle. Off balance or catches, basically comes across the face there. Eberle's got to step right, but he's got to be blocked by Arthur Williams. He's got a straight line, and he trips over his. This is what's funny. It's so bad, it's funny. The defensive end gets inside so quickly on the tackle that he actually trips up his own nose tackle from making the play in the backfield. They trip over each other on their way to the running back, and that's why that lane opens. Very smooth. Now, Minshew does a good job of getting to the second level here, and that's why this play hits. That's good vision from Akers to get upfield. Good run. And that flips the field. That's a big play right there. That gets you out of jail. So now, finally feel comfortable throwing with Blackman. And they do a better job of pass blocking, at least. Minshew misses his punch. And again, what I don't understand is you're not real mobile. Why are you getting aggressive on this? Make him make a move first, then punch. Be patient. There's no reason to try to extend here as an offensive lineman. Be patient. Keep your balance. Make him come through you. You're 340 pounds, 330 pounds. Do that. So now, 3-by-1. I'm going to make it look like a zone up front. Like this scheme here. This gives him a chance in terms of pass protection. Everything is protecting the boundary. So what do? You step right. It's basically a play action without the play action, and now you're releasing that back. And they've got a green dog on here with the middle linebacker who's coming up when he sees the pass. Blackman does a good job of waiting just long enough, getting it off, taking a little bit of contact, but avoiding too much contact, makes a solid throw. Hits it to DJ Matthews. First down. That's not bad. So you've managed to get 2 first downs now, despite the first 2 plays, the offensive line blocking a grand total of 2 people. Or 3 if you want to count the backer who got in late. Now, this is what, Walt Bell calling the offense. You're going to see more of this. Pistol. It's not something that Taggart isn't philosophically opposed to it. I think it's going to grow on him as he's at Florida State longer. But it's something that he just hadn't done a whole lot. He's not as familiar with. And this is something that Walt Bell is really big on. He likes running pistol. You're going to see more of this with Walt Bell calling the offense. And I think that benefits 3. I think that benefits Akers a good bit because he, to me, looks much more comfortable coming downhill here and then being able to run and find a hole than he does starting from that spot with no momentum and then skipping forward. Coming forward, he just seems more natural. Now, does he actually hit his hole here? No, not exactly. He's actually got that hole on the backside there. This is one where, a really good jump cut runner just might jump cut and hit this seam right here. He tries to get there, but he doesn't quite hit it, so you end up with a tough, 2-yard run. Second and 8, and that's just, pretty standard. Just run some hitches, get yourself short third down. Blackman handling things well. And you have a pre-snap infraction, or a timeout, I'm sorry. Now, you have pistol. Now you move him into the hip. And you're working downhill here. Now, this is worth noting as we go into the second half and we look at the fourth down play, which we'll look at a little bit later. Take note of what happens here. So they run just a straight downhill zone blocking play here. This should be as simple as anything you do. Just step one direction and allow seams to form. Well, look at all that penetration. You have a bubble here. Kelly's just slow to get there. You want Kelly stepping forward and notice this is how this backer's taking this on. When I'm saying backers are triggering slow, look at how he triggers. He recognizes the step. He's attacking here. He's into the chest of the lineman. Kelly does a good job of recovering, but there's a lot of penetration here from the interior. Their defensive tackle's a lot quicker than most, and he's been able to get penetration a good bit on this drive. And then, as we've seen all year, McKitty does not do a good job of getting inside on that defensive end. Defensive end is able to step inside. McKitty isn't able to redirect him. You get a complete whiff from the H-back here. I guess that's Neighbors stepping inside. He's got to get a hand on somebody. That's the guy that comes in and puts his helmet on the ball. So running a typical play, this is, by the way that NC State's lined up here, if you just block this the way that you should, I mean, just take your proper steps and get a body on a body, this should come downhill. This should be fine. And actually, Patrick's close to getting it, but they're look at all those guys in the backfield. That's not ideal. Patrick does a good job of just skipping and finding a lane, and then happens to get a helmet or something on the ball, fumbles, and then that changes some things. Once again, NC State, going back to what they did earlier, unbalanced, this time unbalanced, and Florida State has it right. You have the big end to the unbalanced side. I actually don't know if this is an adjustment yet or whether they actually flipped it, because this is to the field. So you'd expect him to be the field in Florida State's normal defense. But if they made that change that quickly, good for them. I don't think they did. I think this is just how it wound up lining up. In any case, Aime needs to do a better job of compressing inward and not just back into the backfield, because he kind of runs by it. But where this is better is you're seeing the backer in better position here. Instead of moving over, so notice on our first one, you had Woodby here, and he shifts over against this jet action. Brooks does a good job of basically staying where he needs to, triggers down from the right spot, is able to keep the proper shoulder clean. He gets bear hugged a little bit, but by being in the right spot, he's able to turn that back inside. And that's where Marvin Wilson is able to come inside out and make the play. That's better defense. Now in standard, and they got the double pass. And this is bad. So you got tight end getting vertical. Your job, this is quarters. You can tell by the depth of the safeties. Your job, you've got deep quarter. You've got deep quarter. You've got deep quarter. You've got deep quarter. The way this ends up working out is you should have the number 2 on anything vertical. You should have the outside vertical. The way this should work is the backside safety. There's no vertical threat over here. So you read number 3 to number 1. If number 3 releases vertically now, your eyes have to be on that. Why are you looking back here? As soon as you see the helmet come up, you know that you need to be checking number 3. Is he releasing vertical? If number 3 is releasing vertical, you've got to get over top of that now. Number 3 is releasing vertical, get over it now. No matter what's going on back here, your job is to be looking right here. Eye discipline, recognizes it too late, and this should have scored. They got lucky. And again, this is good design. They know this is quarters. So why do you motion him over? Because normally, in a balance set, he's going to have a vertical from out here. He's going to keep his eye on that. But as soon as you motion him over here, he's going to relax a little bit, knowing that the biggest vertical threat's right here. So as soon as that gets thrown out here, he's more likely to fall asleep. This is good psychology. And if that's a well-thrown ball, that's a touchdown. Or at least inside the 10. Westbrook's faster than a lot of people think he is. So now they're in Delta. And they go max protect. Trying to get downfield. Nothing there. quality coverage. And let's just take a look at the Marx Brothers style comedy that is the Florida State offensive line right now. It's a simple nose tackle stunt. Nose comes inside, tackle loops. The way this should work is he recognizes the nose coming inside, and he passes him off to the center. But Arthur Williams never comes off. He latches on. He's actually holding here. So now you have the guard blocking no one. You have the center helping where he should be. And then the guard never comes off for the twist, never recognizes that. As soon as their pads touch, he should be looking for the twist. Twist comes untouched. And this isn't Blackman holding on to it too long. This is a wow. Yeah, this is a play action. You're in effectively max protect, and you let a defensive tackle come straight up the middle untouched. Fortunate that wasn't a safety. Now, I should notice that Keith Gavin's not out here. Gavin's one of the other guys that was identified as not having handled things against Clemson well. After that drop, he once again went into the tank. Now, this is smart. They're bringing a ton of guys, so they've got 9 in the box. They're playing quarters. This is basically 0. Man-to-man out here, man-to-man out here, playing 10 yards off. Get it out there. Use your athleticism. And smart, but it doesn't matter because why? Well, because, you can't do things right up front. But that's smart. It was still smart. Now you're in 3rd and 15 from standing in your end zone. And all they're trying to do, and this is actually the best block play so far, all they're trying to do is wash down inside zone. Akers does a good job getting him out of jail, give enough room to punt. That's helpful. Not a bad punt. Not very good tackling. So they're in normal here. This is good alignment. This is they're corrected up front now. This is fine. And that's pretty good. Not bad from 5 here. Gets a little lucky by coming back to come inside. He makes the lineman miss him and then is able to get the tackle. It's a pretty good play, but he wasn't quite where you'd want him. 2nd and 14. This is just NC State doing a good job of getting the ball out quickly. You're not going to get a whole lot of pressure on him. And this is also luck because you got 4 Florida State players in the vicinity, 2 NC State players, and it goes right to an NC State player who then rolls on top of his tackler, and then you get a first down out of it. That's just lucky. Weak zone again. Well, I guess that's strong zone because they're running it to the sniffer side. And this is a combination of things here. Florida State has a double-A blitz on. So they're bringing both backers on each side of the center. Center gets outside, is able to block the play side A gap blitzer. Because you're double-A blitzing, the defensive tackle has the B gap. He's getting outside for that, gets washed a little bit. He can't get washed quite that much. And now you don't have an extra backer to come there, is able to hit. Nice play. They just happened to be the wrong time to have the double A on. And good guess by NC State. Just ISO here. Getting 7 yards on ISO. And the thing that's sticking out the most is they are handling Florida State's tackles. Defensive tackles are getting no penetration. See where Christmas is all the way in here. Now, there's some holding going on. But those tackles are not getting into the backfield the way they have most of the year. Good double team here, combo block. They're really well coached inside. And when they're allowed to hold, that makes it a lot easier. Outside zone, everybody steps. Good recognition by the backers. Basically, everybody's in their gaps. Good job by 13, waiting that out. Comes downhill, makes the tackle, and yet, where does he make contact? Right there, about a yard behind the line of scrimmage. Where does the back go down? Almost first down. I think they gave it to. Yeah, they gave him the first down there. That was a really generous spot. He was about a half a yard short. But still, that's 3 yards after contact from your defensive end. Defensive end has to be able to grab him and get him down now. You cannot let your 270-pound defensive end get carried like that. It's a better job from Kando here than what you're getting from Burns against the run here. Notice he sticks. Gets the wrong arm, is able to compress a little bit. Still a little too far upfield. You want to see him right here on the ampersand. Would-be. Notice there's no jet that gets him out of this. He steps, triggers right now. This is how you should do this. Triggers downhill, takes that on, in the hole, stacks that up. That is good run defense. Give Would-be an attaboy for that one. Look at him take on this lead block. Boom! Runs him into the back. That's quality play from Would-be. And here we get a bailout. 2nd and 9. FSU has him in good leverage. They run a slot fade. This is just a smash fade. And honestly, I think this is just a terrible call. This is very good coverage. I mean, this is how I would coach it. Samuel moving his feet. Gets outside. Receiver never gets any sort of leverage. Just armbarring him a little bit. And that ball's thrown way inside. Corner has the right to maintain his leverage. This to me is a missed call. I think that's a bad call. That's how you coach that. So now you give him the ball in the inside the 5. This game's about to get out of control. Burns does a good job getting off the block here. Now notice they've got Burns at linebacker here. It's a nice adjustment. Getting one of your best guys on the field while you've got bigger down linemen. So you bring in 4 linemen and then you make Burns one of your backers. Burns is able to get penetration, make a tackle for a loss. That's good. That's good creativity from the defensive staff, moving him to a spot where he can do some damage. And again, he's right here on this one. So that helps mitigate your linebacker problem in that you've moved maybe your best player to a spot where you've had some trouble. And this is Stanford Samuels doing his job. They're going out wide to a big wide receiver who generally is going to win that matchup against a corner. Catches it just behind the line of scrimmage. Samuels does a good job stepping up and refuses to get carried. Most corners are going to lose that. Harmon's going to score. That's good play. Only give up 1 there. That's a good play. Now, this is a mistake here by NC State, in my view. 3rd and goal. What you want to do, the book on this is easy. They've got really good wide receivers. They should not be in big personnel here. They should be spreading this out and picking which safety or linebacker they want to throw against. This is a mistake. This is personnel that Florida State can cover down here. And so as a result, there's nothing. Good coverage across the board. Hold them to a field goal. And still trying to return it out. At least get it to the 24, 25. So it's even. Notice, again, no Keith Gavin. Why? Well, because he was a slacker, McFly. So you're getting Wilson. And Wilson showed some stuff in this game. Looks smooth out there. Not bad. Second quarter. Didn't get the whole play there. Holding again. This is really good play by the defense here. See this backer? He reads screen right now. See that? He sees screen. He's reading correctly. Checks the helmet of the guard. Guard's coming forward. Now what do you have to find? Find the alley player, because you know it's not going to be the back. Find the alley player, gets in there, makes a play. That's great play by the linebacker. And I don't think that was a throwaway. I think that's just a miss. Florida State has not been able to block this real well, this particular pass blocking scheme well the entire time, all season. Once again, you got really 3 over 2 here. This is not bad, but get a little flow, get that to the outside. And what are they doing? They're playing on this being quarters. So the safety has to track this outside. When the receiver comes inside, he's bringing that in. That just turns into a pick, and that's easy. Got to do a better job of communicating here such that when number 2 starts coming outside, you can't wind up on that track, and number 1 has to come off. You have to communicate. Number 1 has to be outside now. Can't lock on. Once again, you notice the right tackle's having his way with Janarius. A little better job not getting thrown down, but he's doing a good job of getting leverage and just sort of body slamming. Backers out of the hole. Backer gets out of his gap here. Both backers get out of their gap. See Jackson coming. He's trying to run around. Run through and runs around. That allows space. And then Sanford Samuels makes the tackle, but giving up some yardage. This is just your traditional outside zone. Running it at Brian Burns. They're able to get him hooked on the edge. Tight end Arks is able to get outside of Woodby. Woodby does a good job of changing that leverage again. That's good play. And then it's Westbrook who comes up from being, this is where being a quarters team helps you. These guys are regarded as half guys in the box. As soon as you know that it's a run, now you go. He's got to run the alley. He's able to run that alley because 5 does a good job of running inside out. Now you have the safety to the to the tackle, pretty good. And now you have Woodby, and the play has been whistled, and as a result, first down. And instead of that being a stop, which it should have been, that would have been 3rd down and 10. Should have been another field goal. Now you get this. You're not going to win this very often against Harmon. Does a pretty good job. I mean, this is not bad from Samuels. He gets out of position a little bit, runs to it. It just happens to be a throw he can't get to. Good play. Now this game's in bad shape. Why are you bringing it out? Well, Helton, you're not bad. Okay. Still only 25. Just fair catch it. Good location. Good pass pro. And by this point, Minshew is out with the injury. Once again, every time they pull, it's just really bad. You're asking the center to reach this nose who's over the guard, and he's just not quick enough to get there. Trying to down block here. Get that. This is what they were trying to do earlier. So now they're trying to get a double team on the front side. I see what they're trying to do. They're getting a double team on the front side tackle. That's what they're wanting to do against this particular front. And then they're going to try to read the outside guy. And then you're gonna get the pin. You're gonna get the kick out, and then another kick out if they bring somebody else. But it doesn't matter if you can't block in here, and they just can't. They're not quick enough. And as a result, you just get guys coming free. And that's so bad. And this is the same stuff they're trying to run on fourth down. You can't do this if you can't block the inside guy. You can't pull away from him if he's just going to get a free run. Yeah. 3rd and 10. And this, as we talked about in the podcast, this needed to be about half of Florida State's offense. You go full Jeff Bowden and Greg Carr with this. Why? Well, because this guy has grown to the place this year where he's playing almost at an All-American level, at least as a down the field receiver. He is special in terms of that height, speed. And if this was better thrown, the scores. It's not a bad throw though. I can live with it, but he's underthrown a little bit. Does a great job coming up with it. Gets you out of jail, flips the field. And now what I like about this, good on Walt Bell. They showed they couldn't cover it. What coverage were they in before? You got man free here. Throw it down the sideline. Safety can't get over there. What do you have? You got quarters. So run 2 verticals so that safety's taken out of there again. You're going to get the same one-on-one. Do it until they stop it. This corner can't cover it. Just keep going to it. Once again, good play. Maybe a little offensive interference right there. And that's easy. Do it even more. I mean, look at how easily he eats up that cushion. I mean, that's almost Randy Moss-esque. And then the physicality. Corner tries to get his hands on him, and boom. Well, that's actually not pass interference on the offense. That's the corner just getting beat at hand fighting. Pretty good. At this point, they're doing a better job of getting aligned. They're also not going unbalanced. Woodby does a good job of protecting his outside, or I guess that's Adonis Thomas, does a good job protecting his outside. Aime does a good job of keeping himself clean and getting into the backfield a little bit. And now the Mike is able to flow, make the play. That's a good play by Warner. From here, well, you're going to periodically get this, and what was happening is Florida State was not respecting that run, that quarterback run threat. This is all you need, and this is all Taggart needs, is once in a while when they start doing this and taking that away with the defensive end, all you need is a quarterback who can just go up and then get a few yards and get down. You don't need a runner, you just need that. That gets you in good position. And this throw is insane. When I saw it right here, I thought this was a pick six. And I think so did Westbrook. But that's just good touch. Puts it right over him. First down. Once again, watch the defensive tackles getting blocked here. Not bad from Wilson this time. I think it's the next play that they... This is just a really tough cover. And again, what they're doing is they're going max protect against a four-man rush, and they're assuming that eventually you're going to get enough time to break down what you've got against the safety here. There's not much you can do. Running downhill, same problems. Now watch here. Defensive tackle. And Mike linebacker. They don't have to double the tackle. They're able to get this tackle hooked. Is that Fred Jones? They're able to get that tackle moved. Mike gets handled by the center, and you got to run through. That's just not ideal. A little better here. Not bad coverage by Myers, although that's no different than what Samuel got called for on the pass interference. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what happens here. The two edge guys really don't get blocked. Nose tackle as they're pulling that guard to get ahead, pulling the center a little bit. Problem is this tackle coming all the way across creates enough of a problem that the other is able to come free. That causes Blackman to have to turn back. He's looking for some sort of post or whatever. I don't have the routes here. Nothing there. And you're going to get that. And this is really good. This is comfortable from Blackman. Just check it down. Nothing's happening downfield. Get your running back. And what they've done is they've gone with a layered look. They've got layers where you've got one guy running a dig over top. You've got the running back running an angle underneath. The backers come up to take one away. You throw it behind. If they stay back, you throw it underneath. And you get it in the hands of one of your playmakers. Akers has to hit this vertical right now instead of trying to get outside, but only would have been a couple more yards anyway. And this is exactly what we talked about a few weeks ago in the second half of the Louisville game. This is that same little in combination where you've got an in here and an in here that Florida State loves to run. A couple ins on third and medium. And I'd said that what was going to happen because of how often they'd gone to this well is that what you would see is somebody would zone blitz this. Somebody would drop a tackle or drop an end right into this spot because it's an automatic for the quarterback. And the quarterbacks were, at that time it was Francois that was just throwing it automatically. And sure enough, they guessed what Florida State was going to run here. Take it away here and then try to undercut it. It's exactly what you could see right now. They're celebrating that. It's exactly what they'd anticipated. Again, they got out schemed there. And again, here's the thing. It's 3rd and 5. You get this look now. Why not throw that back shoulder up here? It's one-on-one. Make him cover that guy. They've already shown they can't cover that guy. Find a way to make them cover him. Or get these guys a little more vertical, which is what they do later. Finley is so good at recognizing pressure and then just finding the outlet. They don't take very many losses. 3rd and 6 in Delta. Not bad. And they do the right thing and go for it on 4th down. And everybody and their brother knew that as soon as they got this matchup, you got your matchup against Westbrook here with the little cushion. That's where they're going. Bringing an all-out blitz. Bringing 7. With Westbrook playing off, that becomes a two-way go for this guy. It's just a little option route. As soon as he turns out, quarterback puts it on him. 1st down. Nothing you can do there in that coverage because that guy's not going to cover that guy playing 5 yards off without any inside help. Needed to drop one guy just to make sure that matchup wasn't a two-way go. He can't cover him. Yeah, I cannot believe they called this on Jackson. Right there. They're going to call that. That's helping them. Every time they got down here, they got help. And once again, Florida State doesn't have the right numbers on the outside. The real problem, they've got a guy for the quarterback. They don't have a guy for the pitchman. The pitchman has to be here, and they do a good job of getting to him with the outside guy, with the tackle. Tackle reaches him. Werner cannot get reached there. He's got to keep free. As soon as he recognizes option, he's got to keep that outside shoulder free. But I think he's getting held. Yeah, that right there's a hold. That should have been called. But I don't think he's looking where he's supposed to be looking. He's looking back here at the ball. So this is interesting. This official is supposed to be looking right here. Line of scrimmage. Instead, he's looking back at the football, at the ball carrier, instead of where he should be looking. And so he's just looking for the touchdown. And as a result, he misses the hook. He misses the hold here that enables this. His eyes are supposed to be right here, not right there. That's bad mechanics from the official, and that's why he misses it. He did see him cross the goal line, though. So now you get the 114 drive, and I'm excited to break this one down. I think Blackman, and this is where you could see Bell really kind of get into a little bit of a groove and get comfortable with what Blackman's able to do. Offensive line does a decent job blocking this. They only bring 3. And what you knew coming in is that they couldn't cover in here. They were not going to be able to cover 6. They were not going to be able to cover 29. And you knew that their corners could not run deep with 15. Have we seen Keith Gavin, by the way? Sure doesn't look like it. First half, doesn't play. That's Wilson out there. I haven't seen a participation sheet, the official one for the first half, but I don't think he played in the first half. And what do you see here? Seeing these backers trying to get deep. McKitty can get deeper. And this is a nice anticipation throw by Blackman. Fit it in the window. Right there. Get it over the top. Right as he's clearing those backers. Throw it now. He's over the top. Put it in that window. Now you've got a chance. As you're getting forward, you've crossed midfield. You still only have a minute. You're in great shape now. They run the same concept, but now linebackers are going to get deep, so you dump it. Again, good protection. Akers catches it. Not bad. 4 yards ahead of the sticks. Call timeout. As always, when anything needs to be done, the offensive line makes sure that they get a false start. This is a good design again. They're basically trying to run the same thing. Clear out here from the tight end, and then just come inside with Akers. Blackman wants to go early, but he recognizes the slip, pulls back on it. This shows you how big his hands are. And then he puts it on him, and, not much there. 3rd and 11. Again, you're able to block him decently. Not bad recovery here from 74. His shoulders are turned. He lunges, gets his hands knocked, and then he's able to recover. And Blackman does a good job of escaping the pocket, keeping the eyes up, and this is gold. He had a little seam vertical. Receiver found a little hole, and Blackman is able to make a play on the run. This is why they score right there. Missed the first down. It was an incompletion. So now you got the stacks with inside spread, or inside, narrower splits, not all wide here. And what this does is this is going to allow you to widen. They're going to force the safeties wider, and then they're going to widen with the number 1 off of that to keep the safety honest, and then you just hit that seam with the number 2. As the safety has widened here, if the safety's in here, you can't throw this. By widening that safety, you've opened that seam right behind that backer, and these backers are not very good at zone coverage. This is an excellent anticipation throw from Blackman. This is something you have not seen from Francois all year. Look at this. Is he open? He's open. This is correct. He is open. The shoulders are facing forward. He's moving behind. You throw that right in here. But you have to anticipate that he's open. Throw this like a point guard. Put it in the seam. Bang. That is really good. I mean, that is one of the best throws a quarterback for Florida State has made all year. Put it right in there. Throw him open. That is beautiful. And then another example of the same play call that they had a little earlier, where they had a levels call. You got McKitty on a dig, and you get the little angle route to Akers. They come with a blitz on the backside. Blackman recognizes that Akers comes underneath the coverage, that they're in man, puts it out there, and they score easily. That is probably the best drive Florida State's had offensively all year. And he got roughed. That's excellent from Blackman. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move to the second half. We'll do a couple drives in the second half, and then I'm gonna wrap it. So let's go ahead and enter full screen. Here we go. All right. And let's move forward. Always wanting to come out. No, Harrison. It's not just because of you. It's because, well, they can't block without holding. Man, they're just getting manhandled inside. This is so bad. You've got Eberle on the nose tackle, and he ate Eberle's lunch most of this game. And Eberle was the best guy most of this game, just like he has been the best guy on the offensive line most of the year. Oh, 3 technique wins inside. See what the way this should work as a combo. Make sure you make a little contact with him, Arnold, so that the tackle doesn't just get run by. It's just so frustrating to watch. So why not just run? And this is where Blackman, willingness to actually get a few positive yards puts you in a better position. And what is this guy doing out there? Get him on the sideline. Nice catch. But I do think they had a missed spot on this. I think it should have been a half yard instead of a yard, but so now we get to the fourth down. I know some of you wanted me to break this down. I have no objection to the jet part of this. I actually think that's a good idea. And actually, I criticized this play call on the first watch, but I actually think this play call is okay. Because what they're supposed to do, you're basically working on an inside. This is just split zone. You're just running zone, which is what you want to do here in short yardage. It's only a yard. You're just running zone with the jet action to try to keep these guys isolated on the backside, and they did a good job of keeping those guys honest on the backside. So you've effectively blocked these two backside guys with that. And this isn't that slow developing. He's coming forward now. That's okay. The place where this gets blown up is this nose tackle has been in the backfield all game for NC State. And the way this is supposed to work is the guard has to step hard and make sure that he does not allow him to knife. But what this nose tackle is so good at is, first of all, he's quick off the ball. And then he does a good job of turning his shoulders sideways so that he turns slippery. And he gets in the backfield. Because what this should be is, you see Eberle trying to get that hand there. Eberle should be punching right now. Trying to punch and then make it to the second level. And the thing is, he's trying to get to the second level too early. Trying to get over here to help. But this has been the guy that's been killing him. The way they should have done this is they should have peeled back with Eberle and double team, just done a true double team on this nose, and this would have had a chance. But what they're trying to do is get Eberle to punch and then Arnold to get position inside and then use the H-back as your pull right here to hit this backer, and Neighbors completely misses his guy. So you get two whiffs, basically. Arnold here whiffs, and Neighbors whiffs, and both guys wind up making the tackle in the backfield. If either one of those guys makes the block, then Akers is hitting this downhill with some good pace right there. There's a chance. In fact, if Neighbors doesn't whiff here, if he just comes straight up field and makes contact there, even the penetration here from the defensive tackle, he gets washed down just enough by Arnold that I think Akers hits this right up the gut. Eberle gets to the second level like he's trying to right here. So really, this is on Neighbors for missing this block. Got to wonder if maybe, Vickers or somebody would have been better in that role. But anyway, Neighbors completely whiffs, and this is not his first whiff. Whiff, and then that's the guy that comes in and makes the tackle. So this is actually, I have to take it back that this was a bad call. This is actually a solid call in the context. I think it was the right call. I said all along it was the right call to go for it. I thought this was a slightly different call when I watched it the first time. This was the right call because I thought there was a puller, and that's why he came through, but there wasn't. It was just the H-back coming through on the slice for the split zone. If they block this, if you get the block from the H-back who whiffs, this is a first down. Everything else is okay. Even the penetration from the nose tackle isn't going to matter if the H-back makes his block. So that's on Gabe Neighbors. Actually, a decent call and a decent the right call on to go for it on fourth there as well. So frustrating. Now this is a really good play from Burns. He's starting to get a chance to just go instead of just working that edge. He's got edge help outside, so he's been told take the B gap. He gets the B gap. Watch him just – that's where the quickness matters. Oh. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. Not bad from Myers. I know there were some complaints internally that Myers shouldn't have been out there as a quitter, but he did start to play in the second quarter. And this is where, again, Florida State just gets bullied. Look at how their defensive tackles get handled. This is the same wham. They X that. Now there's a nice hold by the left tackle. He bear hugs Woodby. That's a nice hold. Not going to normally call that, though, because of location. But good job by the H-back coming in and whamming, and he cuts the defensive tackle who's coming downhill. That allows the center to get the angle on the Mike Backer, who's out of his gap. Mike Backer tries to dance around the center. He should be in the front side gap. Wilson gets matched up just enough. He doesn't create enough push. And he's held. Trying to get off, and he's held. And then, if you watch what happens to this backer here, this is Brooks. Boom. That's not ideal. Just getting bullied. Now that's pretty good by Wilson. This is better. He doesn't get held here. He gets his hands inside, gets into the backfield. Not bad. And this is pretty good. This is where they've again gone unbalanced. This is the play that they opened the game with. And this time you see the safety staying outside and doing the proper thing. So they've made the adjustments now where they got beat earlier. They know that this guy has to come up. See, in the first half, he's back here and they're all stuck. He knows now, come straight downhill as soon as you see run action out of this. Woodby does a good job of getting into a different gap as he sees where this is going. And the safety does a good job of running the alley. And then the real play is made by Durden here, who just whips the guard. And then Burns finishes by keeping his shoulder clean. That's pretty good. Just a couple more things before we go. I'm going to get to a couple of these touchdowns. A little bit more play by Blackman. I'm going to highlight a couple more things. For one, you notice again, he's getting rid of it a lot quicker. Get it out. Back is turning now. He's throwing starting to throw before Akers looks. Now it's out right as Akers looks. That gives you a chance. One of the best things I saw from him. And once again, let's just blow it by not having the right personnel on the field for special teams. That's why you got to make sure the head coach can go ahead and handle other things rather than just calling the offense because, well, your special teams coach is asleep at the wheel. Now here, once again, they're able to turn that end out. And the problem here, look at this. What is he doing? Brooks has the B gap. The gap between the center or between the guard and the tackle. Brooks has it. What is he doing? What's he reading? He's got to be here downhill now. He should be running parallel with Jackson downhill right now. He should be parallel to that. Brooks should be right here. That's his gap. What is he doing? I mean, this is just so bad. If he hits this gap, he should be hitting it right here, blowing that up just like Woodby did earlier, and that turns into a no gain. Instead, I mean, there's nobody there. I think this is they're just running out of this. So this is just a little outside zone, not bad. And this is the wrong call. This is a good jam. Protect your leverage. Running in phase. You got little hand fighting. Receivers trying to push off. That is fine. That coverage is okay. That right there is good coverage. Harmon trying to push off. That is not pass interference. Harmon is trying to that's an arm bar. If he does that, the DB has the right to get that hand off of him. That is a no call. They bailed them out once again. And once again, this is perfect coverage. Not only does he stay over top, he's looking back for the ball. He keeps his leverage, keeps his hands up. That is fine. And they bail him out again. That's just poor call. That is a poor call. That is poor officiating. And once again, this is what they should have done earlier when I said they should have gone multi-wide receiver. Isolate somebody on the safety that you want, turn it into that, and that's stealing. You can't cover it. Florida State can't cover it. That's what they should have done earlier. That's when they just tried to go big. That was a mistake. Once again, this is where Blackman, one person I talked to said, Blackman's not better than Francois really at anything. He's just a better player. Not that he's better. Not that he's better. Not that he's more talented or better at anything. He's just a lot better. Once again, this is what he allows you to do. And you'll see more of this with Walt Bell. More true quarterback draw stuff. They're rushing 4. Playing man under with a spy. Nice block by Eberle. Good job to protect himself. Gives you a chance. And once again, you see the matchup you want. They're in quarters. You know that he's going to run right by him. Set up, get it out there. And one of the things I want to highlight here, watch Terry get that ball out away from his body with both hands, keep it up, and tuck that. That takes a tremendous amount of hand-eye coordination and is perfect fundamentals. This is what they should have done more in the first half a little bit, but they're starting to get comfortable with what Blackman can do. They're just running verticals. Get them into the middle intermediate part, take advantage of their soft middle, just like NC State had been able to do against the Florida State defense. And once again, take note of the big hands from Blackman. He's getting ready to throw. Oh, never mind. I'm going to hold on to that. Hung on maybe a little too long here. He's expecting the back to get open in the back. This does not look pleasant for 9 here. Jams his ankle a little bit, trying to come off. That doesn't look good. He's trying to come to the back and then, well, just not much. Little double move from the H-back. Now this also is holding. He tried to throw this to draw the hold, but is there an official looking at this? I mean, this guy back here should be. But that right there, that's a hold. That should have been called. What they called earlier, my goodness. And you see McKitty saying, where's the flag? And then this is beautiful. Line up with a decreased split. Creates, again, a lot of space out here. Run this time an inside stem to set this safety up this way. Roll to the corner. And you do it on a quarterback rollout where you're going to get a chance to throw that comfortably with an angle. And then you have basically, this is just smash out of stack. Come inside, run a little whip to take that underneath, give you a chance underneath, and then run it right there. And once again, catching it out from the body securely. That right there that is how it's done. So a lot of positives there. And, with the benefit of a few of those calls, but look at that. Look at the hands. Love it. Very natural. Oh, and yeah, of course, special teams. We don't need no freaking special teams. I think that's good enough. I've gone through 3/4 of this pain. If anybody wants any additional work on this, if you are above a $10, I will definitely do it. If you're above a $5, I'll probably do it. But I'll get something else if there's anything else from this game that you want to take a look at. But I think that's good enough for this week. I'll go ahead and wrap here. Once again, thanks to everybody who is watching this. I appreciate your support. And there's enough good stuff in this one to look forward to, at least for the future. But hopefully we get some more fun stuff to break down in the future. All right, signing off. Thanks a lot.